Well, I've decided to jump in and start sewing them together. You know, you can work on the design aspect forever. Oh, I think I want to move this little thing over here, that this would be better over there. But I'm not going to take this so seriously. I had a need to do a quilt because of all the other things I've been doing. But now, I didn't particularly want to do a leftover quilt, but that's where I am. It's number 28. So it's got to be a leftover quilt. Multiple of 7s. So I'm just going ahead. So let's say that I'm going to want these. I'm going to go with this. I have a lot of these blocks, right? These already blocks here. So that I can keep track of them after I've sewn them together, I want to be able to put them back up where they belong. I mark a pin there, that's going to show me the top. Then I just come down and attach it to that. I attach this to this. I just work my way down as long as I think I'm going to want that particular strip. So then they're ready to stitch. So now I press the seams open. I'm a little more sloppy with a leftover quilt. Everything isn't too precise. So now it's finished. I know where it goes. Now I'm going to do the same with that one, and then I'll sew those two together. I spent a lot of time just staring at it, trying to decide what to do next. Then I have to just take the plunge, but you can spend a lot of time just looking at it. This is my 5th day, so I thought I might be able to finish the piecing today, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's It's 1 o'clock and the blue angels are flying over. Do you have blue angels where you live? It's quite different than the way my grandmother made a quilt. They had their little blocks. You could take your little blocks. Most of them all identical. Small formulas, uncomplicated formulas. You just had to make 800 of those little blocks. Those identical little blocks. And then you just sewed them together and there was your quilt. Even when I do a quilt with a regular pattern, which I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to do my next quilt with a regular pattern. Even then, I like to do it on the wall so that I can play with color and not use a stereotype general pattern so they're all identical. I find that so tedious. Tedious to make, tedious to look at. And I don't know if you go to many quilt shows, but I really believe that about 80% of the quilts I see at those giant quilt shows are at best boring and probably ugly. Next step. Just unattractive, uninteresting. I feel lucky when I go to a quilt show if I see 3 or 4 quilts that inspire me. But I guess people enjoy it. So who am I? I do it my way. They do it their way. In my mother's things, that loose ends project I'm trying to deal with, there are all these blocks. There's maybe 8 of them. And I seriously thought about putting them into this quilt. Sometimes they're on like a little individual color, or I guess they can actually go together too. So there's a certain theme, they all have a yellow center, and then they have a solid color, and then they have a print. I like it. I like them touching like that. Usually you see them, they're surrounded by a solid color in a block. A lot easier to sew together. So you applique these on. I was really going to do that, but you know, I just don't think they work with this. So I'm not using them. And actually, I'm off the hook because the only way I know to work with these would have been to applique them. But I like the way they go together because it's kind of confusing. I like confusion in a quilt. I like using a stereotype pattern, but confusing the experience because edges are blurred. You're not quite sure where one thing began and the other took off. These are not very well made, incidentally. They're very irregular. So I'm going to give them, if any of you are interested and would like them, they're about 100 years old. I think there's 7 or 8 of them. I'd be happy to send them to you.